couple weeks ago, one thing that we are certain about, there's two things that you are certain about a season. And that is, it has a beginning and it has an end. So if you are in a season right now that is really, and you are really low, it would say that you cannot stay there forever. And there will come a time where your season must change. Solomon says, to everything there is a season. So we are convinced that there is a season. So we said to you a couple weeks ago not to get caught up in a season where God has left. Samuel got caught up. He loved Saul because Saul was the first king of Israel, and he anointed Saul, and so he was caught up on Saul. But God says, don't get caught up on Saul because I have rejected him. So now I want to talk to you this week more about seasons changing. A few weeks ago, I told you, God said to me that my season of catch and ride and hiking bus and catching bus is over. And this past week, something happened to me, and they even caught it on video, Jason. And so I got a call. They said to me, they said, Daddy, we have a problem. I said, what is the problem? They said, the car is on fire. Which car? Your car is on fire. The Lexus is on fire. Really? So, calm, collective. I said, okay, well, we're on our way. So I called him back. I said, are you guys okay? He says, yes, Daddy. Trey was in the car while it was on. And so I said, what did you say? He said, yes, Trey was sitting in the car trying to start the car while it was on fire. So I'm coming back to, and that has to burn down on Paradise Island. Yeah, on Paradise Island, it has to burn down on Paradise Island. So I said, guys, okay? He said, yes. So the Lord spoke to me in the car and told me that some seasons, just tell them as well, some seasons change peacefully, but some seasons also change painfully. Amen. Can I talk to you today? See, when seasons change peacefully, you have a tendency, you have a proclivity to not see it change. Can I demonstrate that to you? There are pictures on the TV screen. All they are little dots. And if you saw them when the cable goes off, you see, shh, and you kiss your teeth. Cable gone off again. But if you only saw that there are only dots that make up the picture that you see on the screen. But when it changes so seamlessly, you never pay up. But there's times that when your seasons change with pain, what you tend to do is we have a tendency to focus on the pain and not the purpose of the pain. See, because the pain for you is so great. Because then when you can't focus on nothing else other than what you see. The pain is so difficult, but that purpose for that pain. See, if it's time for it to change, there are some seasons we don't want to change from. Yeah. We love the Lexus. We really love it, Claire. We drank more Starbucks in that car. We went to dinner in that car, and coincidentally it burned down with a Starbucks cup in the car. Just saying. So we loved the car. And so Sam began to cry. She says, we were so close to that car. It was a part of our family. But God was saying, it's time to cut loose that. But we are so close to it, we don't want cut loose. And there are times that God has to surgically remove some things from your life. There's some stuff you can't touch. You gotta let the surgeon do it. And God has to surgically go in and open up and cut some things from around you. And God had to surgically. It was difficult this week. It was painful this week. But as it was going on, I saw the purpose in it because our season had to change. Yeah, it was difficult, Odin, because I looked at it and the next day it weighed on me because now the whole car we want to bless someone with, we want to give it away. The enemy tried to steal it away from us. So some seasons change with pain. And great pain too. Have you ever been in a season that you can only feel great pain? You don't know what else to say, Charmaine. All you can say is, Have you ever been in a groaning season? Can I talk to some real folk today who can only groan, God, I don't understand. You tend to say some things like, I don't understand why I'm still in this season. God, I can't handle this pain. This pain is too great for me. I don't know how I'm going to make it through. So you stagger and you say, Jesus. And then people don't understand how deep and what you're going through. They will say, I'm with you. We'll touch that in a little while. I want to tell you, said that some seasons change, Claire, painfully. And I'm convinced that pain has a purpose. Pain has a purpose. Now I want to tell you that you can never skip a season. Because every season of your life is connected to someone else. Could I go there, Claire? I talked to you a couple weeks ago, Bobby, about SpongeBob, who I don't like at all, but I found that that was a good analogy, and someone was watching my Ustream, and they said, boy, that was a good analogy. So I want to go back to SpongeBob. And SpongeBob says, I can't stand Tuesdays. SpongeBob never knew that we would have renewed service on Tuesdays. Because if SpongeBob knew he was having church time on Tuesdays, he wouldn't say, I dislike Tuesdays. But SpongeBob said, I don't like Tuesdays. And so I told you that he says, I wish I could banish Tuesday. So that every next week it went from Monday to Wednesday. SpongeBob said, yes. And so the next week the same thing happened. The next week the same thing happened. But what SpongeBob did not know is that the garbage truck comes on Tuesdays. And I don't know what kind of garbage truck it is because the whole Bikini Bottom was full with garbage. They must only collect garbage on Tuesdays. And so now, when they looked around, they saw garbage was everywhere. So the Lord spoke to me after church that Sunday and told me, tell them you cannot skip a season, because when you skip a season, someone's waiting on you to come through the valley and the shadow. Somebody's waiting on you to come through the valley and the shadow. There's someone on the other side of Bikini Bottom who's waiting on you to pass this test. Just ask Jesus. If he didn't go across Galilee, he would never be able to cast out the demons in the demoniac. Someone's waiting on you. But if the truth be told, I don't like every season. No, this is a deep side. Let me go over here. Donya, the truth be told, there's some seasons where I really wish I could get to that season, Tonya. From season to season. But the key here is, if you skip a season, how does that help you in the next season? Because I am convinced what you need to go through in this season will help you in the next season of your life. Watch this, watch this. If you cannot manage $100, you definitely can't manage 100,000. If you don't pay your tithes of 100, you won't pay it off $1 million. Pastor, if God give it to me, I will do this and I will do it. God knows your heart, baby. He knows you say, I only got 100, I can't pay tithes this week. No. What you have in this season helps you in the next season. Watch Watch this now, watch this. So SpongeBob says that I need to skip. And so if you skip that season, somebody will be adversely affected by it. Which is, I'm going to talk to you today. In most every season of our lives, we see the divine provision of God. Every season of our life, we see the divine provision of God. Go to Psalms 23:1. Watch this. We know this verbatim. We know this by heart. But David does something here in Psalms 23, verse 1. It is, who calls God a shepherd? Because at that time, when they was writing that, shepherd was the lowest of the job titles. Claire might write that God is a CEO or a COO or owner of a company. Why would God want to be a shepherd? And I've come to understand that he says that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall have no want. The provisions of the Lord will stay with you through any season. Watch this now. A shepherd himself, what a shepherd did was, a shepherd would take the sheep out in the morning. Take them out in the morning. He would stay with them all day long. Some of us can't stay on our job and do our work all day long. He would stay with the sheep all day long. If you don't believe me, go to 1 Samuel 17. Don't turn there, read it in your own time. When David went to the battle with Saul, the first thing Eliab asked him is, who did you leave the little bit of sheep with? You should be out there taking care of the sheep. So the shepherd would look over the sheep all day long. Whatever they need, he would take care of it. But in the evening time, Charmaine, it was a different story. Because the shepherd would bring the sheep in. And the crazy thing about it is, if all three of them were shepherds, they would bring the sheep into one pen. And they would mix the sheep together all night long. But the next morning, the shepherd would come to the gate. And he would call his sheep. And his sheep would. This is the reason why Jesus says, my sheep know my voice. And another they will not. So 3 shepherds come to the shepherd gate, the sheep gate, and he says, sheep Jamal. Somebody else called sheep Clyde, and he goes the opposite way because he knows the voice. Then Jesus came back in John chapter 10 verse 11 and says, I am the, oh Jesus, I am the good shepherd. I take care of my sheep. Oh Lord, I wish I could preach this thing today. He says, I am the good shepherd. I take care of my sheep. The shepherd would come back the next day. He would say, sheep. And no matter if Renee was a sheep of Claire, she would not move when Crystal called. Even though Crystal had a crystal call, she would not move because they will not follow another voice. Watch this now, watch it. But before we can even talk about it, here's what I want to talk to you about, Sean. There is some night seasons when the shepherd left the sheep. I mean, all the sheep are in one pen. And the thing about being a shepherd was, it was just like being a leper. They hung with their own people. In a couple minutes, I will ask you a question, but let's talk about this first. He says, now, there's a night seasons when the shepherd leaves the sheep, and they all congregate, and they talk about sheep stuff. They talk about how difficult life has been for a sheep. They talk about how lions out there trying to take down the sheep. They talk about sheep stuff. But in the middle of the night, there is no shepherd. What you saying, Pastor? There's some seasons, some night seasons in your life when you cannot hear God speak. You congregate, you're around some people, and they talking the same talk as you, but you cannot hear God speak. It seems like the shepherd is gone. And so now, even though you are with someone, you're still alone. Yeah. Because I could be in a crowd of 100 people and I still can feel alone. I could be walking in a day season, but a night season can be upon me, and you will never know.